Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling well out there this morning, having a great start to your day and a great ending to your work week as we head on to the weekend. Got you an update what's going to happen weather-wise specifically for today. Very quiet day as a cold front is moving in and high pressure will likely dominate portions of the country with just at least at minimum slightly below average temperatures for a large portion of the country, but not everybody, just whoever gets affected by this troughing or cold front that's moving through. So it's going to be pretty warm across areas of the south. We'll talk about how warm ahead of this cold front, and then we're going to give you an update on what is going to be Tropical Storm Julia probably sometime in the next, I would say probably today or within the next 24 hours, and then it's forecast to become Hurricane Julia and then most likely make landfall in Nicaragua. But we'll give you an update on that also. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. Links are over here. Links are below the videos. And it's just a great way to follow along. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives everybody else an opportunity to pray over it also. And I assure you, people do that. So I'm still asking for prayers for my situation. I'll find out a lot sometime in the next few hours as the people are coming this morning, the plumbers are. So I really appreciate the prayers there. But let's get going. I'm not going to hold you guys up too long on this Friday morning because there really isn't a ton to talk about. But, and I appreciate people who view regardless if there is or isn't and make this part of their morning routine. It really means a lot, guys. I know that me just saying that doesn't really show it, but it really does, guys. And I really appreciate you guys, especially the people who tune in the slow times. It means a lot. And to me, that's like the foundation of the channel is the people who tune in, regardless if it's busy or if it's not, So, like I said earlier, you look at the most of the country right here, it's pretty quiet. You don't really see any. Just looking at this, I think somebody who doesn't know a lot about weather or somebody who does can pretty much draw the conclusion from this that there ain't a whole lot going on for most of the country. You see this little dip right here, that is our cold front coming through, and this will make it all the way to the East Coast because it's moving pretty quick. It's not stalling out, moving slowly. It'll make it all the way to the eastern U.S. Sometime within the next 12 to 24 hours. So then we got this disturbance down here. It's still PTC 13, still technically not Tropical Storm Julia yet, but will become Tropical Storm Julia, especially once it stops interacting with land right here. But there's some pretty intense bursts of convection, just north of South America right here on the northern coastline of you guys. So this will get out into some open water and have about I would say a 24, maybe a 36-hour period to really intensify into a hurricane. I definitely think it will. Do I think it's going to make it to maybe a category 2 or 3? I don't think so. But, a low-end category 2, I don't think it's completely out the equation here. But I think that's a pretty low one. So if you're in Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, I think you just need to prepare for some gusty winds. Obviously, if you're in Nicaragua, this is going to be tropical storm to hurricane force conditions, at least for a period of time, but definitely prepare in these areas for flooding. Nothing has really changed for the forecast for you folks, I would say, over the last 48 to 72 hours. It really hasn't. The latest National Hurricane Center forecast, Cone, you got hurricane watches up for these islands east of Nicaragua out here in the Caribbean. No watches or warnings up for Nicaragua right now, but I suspect this will change probably in the next 12 hours or so. And so this will likely form into a tropical storm sometime later this evening, if I had to guess. And like I said, it will make landfall as a hurricane sometime Sunday morning. But you notice the remnants will move over El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize. So it's going to bring a lot of heavy rain even after the weekend. So we'll give you some model information on this here in a second. So stay tuned if you want to see the latest GFS and European on this. Let's break it down each region for the U.S. today. The Southeast, a very quiet day, a nice day. If you're a fan of warm weather and you're not a fan of all these cool downs you've been getting so far over the last few weeks, then get out, today for sure, especially if you're in the deep south, the deep south belt down here, anywhere from, East Texas, through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, Florida, even all the way up the I-95 corridor to Maine. It's going to warm all the way up into the 80s in these areas right here, 70s all the way up to potentially the down east areas of Maine. But enjoy the weather today. No rain expected. We need the rain. We do. There's certain areas that have not seen rain since, I don't think some areas have seen rain since September 10th, which was a big widespread rain event for a lot of folks in the Southeast. So October is a very dry month. I think it's historically, I think one of the driest months of the year for a lot of folks in the South, but we certainly need some rain, guys. We do. Up here in the Northeast, maybe some showers will swing through. A little piece of energy along this cold front will swing through. We'll bring some showers. New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, all the way up in the northern areas of Maine. Probably maybe a storm or two. You might hear a rumble of thunder. Some showers might make their way all the way down to southern New England. And then some lake effect showers coming off of the Great Lakes here as some cold air moves over the still relatively warm waters of the Great Lakes. Therefore, you might have some lake effect showers. Too early in the season to be lake effect snow bands or anything like that, but certainly some rain coming off just due to the differences of the air temperature and the actual water temperature from the Great Lakes, which is what causes these bands of moisture to form off these Great Lakes. But maybe a shower or two down here in the Washington, D.C. area this evening, the Delaware, southern areas of New Jersey. But other than that, no big weather events happening today in the Northeast. South Central U.S., pretty quiet. Little piece of energy will swing some showers into areas of near Amarillo, Panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, and they might make their way all the way into Oklahoma City area a little bit later today. But a lot of rain could potentially fall in areas of western Texas today, so definitely just be aware of that. Lubbock, Midland, Texas, you guys can certainly see some rain today. So if you're in New Mexico, certainly widespread rains today with a very small flooding threat, but nothing to be too concerned about. The north central U.S., we're going to have some lake effect moisture popping off Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, most of the morning, and then I think that it might kind of go away by the time we get into tonight. But in fact, you look at the radar out of Marquette right now, and like I mentioned over the last day or two, that we were going to potentially have some lake effect snows in these areas. So I know I got one guy out here in the UP of Michigan, and I forgot where he says exactly he's from on the UP of Michigan. But man, let me know if you're seeing some flakes flying around out there this morning. I'm very interested, but the blue's showing up on radar, and I wouldn't be surprised if some flakes are flying around out here. So it certainly looks like it is if you look at radar returns. And temperatures, I think, are in about the low to mid 30s. So it's definitely supportive of a little bit of snow out there. Obviously, it's not snowing in the 20s, so it's probably not accumulating much of anything, if at all. But still, certainly some flakes flying around. Temperatures today, as you can tell, it's going to be a real cutoff in the air mass. It's going to be chilly from the Great Lakes region, the Midwest, the Northern Plains. This front will be moving through the Ohio Valley this morning, so temperatures might drop a little bit throughout the afternoon. If not drop, they won't budge much. So it's going to be kind of chilly in the Ohio Valley. But once you get into the Mid-South, to the Mid-South will be nice. Kentucky, Tennessee, 60s, 70s for highs. A nice day as the cold air actually moves throughout the day. But where the cold front has not moved through, if you're anywhere from Texas, the Deep South, Mid-Atlantic, basically all the way up the I-95 corridor, where the cold front does not clear by the time you get to daytime heating today, temperatures will be nice. If you're a fan of warm weather, New York City, Boston, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, if you're a fan of warm weather, go out there and enjoy it. Go out there and enjoy it. Highs in the 70s today, and just enjoy a little bit of taste of that warm weather because seasons are changing, and you won't have many warm days left once you get locked into a real winter pattern. And we have a lot of cold shots coming up. I mentioned it in last night's video. If you want to interested in knowing in that, watch the video from last night. I talk about the potential for a real big cool down coming about mid-month, even cooler than what we've seen. But some areas could hit 90 degrees in areas of East Texas, Louisiana, maybe certain sections of the Deep South could certainly nip 90 degrees a day, but certainly cold up here and across the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes region. And what's wild is if you even look at areas of the Northeast, there would be a big-time sharp temperature gradient right here where western areas of Pennsylvania and New York State will be locked into the 40s and 50s, but eastern areas into the 60s and 70s, just where that cold front hasn't cleared. This is a pretty sharp cold front, especially up here. So Quick update on the tropics. Listen, I mean, not a whole lot's changed with this. Sometime this afternoon, this will get back over open water, probably form into Julia. And then, as you can tell, as we're getting into tomorrow morning, this number will begin to drop, symbolizing that the storm is deepening. Favorable conditions for a very short amount of time before it interacts with land again, obviously heading right into areas of Central America. We're getting into Saturday evening, tomorrow evening, about 24, 36 hours from now. And then the GFS wants us to drop this all the way to a 980 millibar low pressure, which is a strong Category 1 hurricane, maybe a low-end Category 2, but most likely a 1. Makes landfall sometime Sunday morning into Nicaragua. And so just be prepared for that. Be prepared. Nothing has changed. This pretty much is a destined scenario from model guidance that's going to head right into Nicaragua. And it's really not changing since. But same thing with the Euro. Sunday morning will make a landfall in Nicaragua and bring a lot of heavy rain, gusty winds. This will weaken quickly, but bring a lot of heavy rains to even Honduras, Guatemala, even all the way up to Belize, probably a little bit of rain for Costa Rica. So go on and expect this. This isn't a catastrophic event like you saw from the tropical systems back in 2020 where you had 2 massive hurricanes to hit y'all's area, I think, in a couple weeks span. This is nothing like that. I think you guys can handle this, but the flooding is going to be a real big risk down here, so please be prepared. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going to try to get y'all a video tonight. I got a lot going on today. And then I'm, going on a date night with my wife, and just with the plumbing things, there's a lot going on. I'm not even sure if I'm going to go to work yet. So, you guys have a great Friday. Stay blessed out there, and I should be with you guys this evening. God bless.